Hello, everybody, and welcome to my program, and also welcome to C#.NET Global Summit 2023. Today, I'm here to talk about automatic web UI testing the .NET applications using Selenium and Azure DevOps. My name is Wade Farahmandian, international speaker and book author. And also, I'm currently working as the Chief Executive Officer in Iranian Sputa company. Okay, let's get started and see how we can test our own programs. In order to test our web applications, obviously we need to create a new web application. Suppose that I'm going to create a new web project using Visual Studio and using the C# programming language. I'm going to select the ASP.NET Core web application from the menu. Let's name my project as, for example, a sample web app and choose the .NET 8 as the framework of my application. And let's create application. Okay, as you see, my application has been created, and I can start application using the HTTPS button in Visual Studio, and it will brings up my application using HTTPS binding. Okay, as you see, my application is up and it's running. It has two very simple menu, home and privacy. When I click on privacy menu, the application is being navigated to the privacy page. It's titled change to the privacy policy. And also if I click back to the home option, it will get me back to the home page and the URL also will be changed. Okay, let's assume that this is my web application and I'm going to test these two menu buttons. So simply, in order to test my application, in order to write the Selenium web UI test for your application, the whole process is really straightforward. Simply, you need to add a new project to the solution. So let's right click on solution, select add, and then click on new project. From the options, let's select the test option from the list. And I'm going to write my web UI test using MS Test project template. As you see, this really looks like as writing the unit test for your projects, or looks like the integration test that you have done right for your application. Writing the web UI test is similar to these two kind of tests. So let's name my project as the, for example, sample web UI test, and click on next. Use the .NET 8 as a framework and create a project. Okay, I have my web UI test projects here. I'm going to see what's inside the unit test 1 CS file. I'm going to totally remove this file because I'm going to write the page from the scratch. So let's right click on the projects, select the add and choose the new item. Let's search for test. Okay, there's no test. Okay, we can add a class template and also name this class file as, for example, homepage UI test. Okay, and I'll click here and click the unused namespaces. In order to write my test, my class needs to be to have the public access modifier, and also it needs to have the test class attributes over it. I'm going to put a test method in my test class. For example, let's name it as test home menu option. And also I'm going to add another method to my test class and name it test, for example, privacy menu option. Okay. The story is going to be starts from this point. So how can I write my test to test my UI? I knew that if I want to write unit tests for my project, I can simply add a reference to my project and also start invoking the methods. Or if I want to write integration tests, for example, if I'm going to uh, write integration tests over my web APIs, I might use HTTP clients to call my web API and invoke the web API and then check its results. But for web UI testing, the story is a bit different from unit tests and integration tests. In order to write my unit test, I need to install the Selenium. Of course, you have other options to write your web UI test in the market. Selenium is one of the options. Uh, and of course, as I'm going to write my web UI test using Selenium, I'm going to install the Selenium NuGet package in my project. I need to install the Selenium WebDriver. Okay, okay, I'm going to install this NuGet package. Uh, the next steps, suppose that I'm going to host my, I'm going to provide my web applications to clients who are using my application using, for example, the Google Chrome web browser or using Microsoft Edge web browser. So separately, I need to install the WebDriver for Google Chrome or for Microsoft Edge in my test project. So let's assume that I'm going to write my web UI test for the Google Chrome browser. So I need to install the selenium.webdriver.chrome driver node package. Hmm, it might be Chrome. Oh, okay, let's check the NuGet for it. Chrome driver, Selenium WebDriver.chrome driver. I need to install this package in my project too. Okay. I have installed the required web drivers in my uh, web UI test project. The driver will execute my codes and also will run my application and starts testing my applications instead of a human. After installing the driver, I need to create an instance of the WebDriver and then starts using the applications. For example, I'm going to use the Chrome driver. Let's call it a driver and create an instance of Chrome driver. After creating an instance of Chrome driver, I can simply say it as OK driver. For example, navigate and go to URL. For example, go to https google.com. And after navigating to the google.com, I can assert the results and check that, for example, assert that is true and check if the web page title is has a value of my expected value or has a value as my expectations. For example, driver that title, for example, starts with something. This is the very simple web UI test that I can write for my applications. So as a sum up, I need to create an object of my desired driver, for example, Chrome driver, Edge driver, or Firefox driver, or Internet Explorer driver, or any other driver I might need to use to test my web applications. After creating an instance of my applications, I need to start exploring the application, sending data, getting back the data, analyzing the data, and asserting the results to check if the returned results are same as the expected results or not. So let's open the web browser and go to the google.com. Okay, when the google.com page is open, the web page title is equal to Google, so I can easily test that value here. And of course, instead of using the start, but I can use the equal operator here. Okay, save the test. Let's put breakpoint in my unit test, in my web UI test. Right click on the test and click on debug test to debugging the test line by line to see what's going on inside the test. As you see, we have nothing to do with our web applications yet. Of course, we haven't yet tested our web applications. We're just working with Selenium, and we're just discovering the Selenium and finding out how we can work with Selenium. Okay, my breakpoint has been hit. I can click on step over here. Okay, new object of Chrome driver has been created, and as you see, as soon as the object has been created, new Chrome window is going to be open here, and then I'm going to say the driver, okay, navigate and go to the google.com. Okay, again, if I refer to the Google Chrome driver, I can see that it has been navigated to google.com. And then I can check the driver title, for example, check if the driver title is equal to Google or not. Of course, if you write this web UI test projects in your own Visual Studio and start exploring the Google, you might not see this 403 page. As you can see, okay, let's see. Okay, I've misspelling here. I'm just exploring the Google Chrome using HTTP protocol. We can change it to the HTTPS using hot reload to saving the change, and again navigating to the Google. Okay, the Google page has been opened, and I can assert the driver title to check if the value is equal to Google or not. And as you see, it's the driver title page is equal to Google, and my test has been passed. It's a very simple example of writing UI test for our application, but we need to test our own web applications. Apparently, we might need to replace the https google.com with our own application's URL. For example, let's check what's my application's URL here. My application is going to be hosted in for example, in the HTTP profile, it will be hosted on HTTP localhost 5138, or using HTTPS in 7092 port number. I'm going to copy this value in my web UI test projects, and then I can start exploring the application. So let's change the test a little bit. I'm going to say the driver, okay, navigate and go to the localhost. And after going to the localhost, let's check if the title is equal to something. After that driver, you can, for example, find an element in the page. Find an element by, for example, link text. Okay, by link text. For example, privacy. This says that's the driver. Go to the localhost page, then find a link inside the page which has a text equal to privacy. After that, you find that link, you can click on that link. After clicking on that link, again, I can write my assert to check if the title is equal to, for example, privacy, or the title starts with privacy or not. Okay, let's clean up the code. I can cut this part of the code and put it in the test privacy menu option. There was a misspelling error here. Okay. But there's one problem here. If I separate these two tests into two completely different methods, I need to again create another object of the Google driver. Of course, this is not very good option, as it is not very it will not have very suitable and great performance. In order to prevent it, I need to create the Google driver instance once and use it many times inside my test methods. And in order to use this kind of in order to implement this kind of use cases, we can use the test initialize attributes and create a method. Let's call it init. Okay, I can define a field inside my class called, for example, Google Driver, and put the initializations method inside the test initialization section. Okay, okay. Now the Google Driver objects will be created once and it will be used in my two different methods. There's another problem here. It's that, okay, I have created the Google Chrome driver here, and I'm going to use it in my test methods. The question which arises here is that, okay, where can I close the Google Chrome driver? As you see, for example, you can see that I have stopped my test projects here, but the Chrome web driver has not been closed the window. In order to close the window or quit from Google Chrome or disposing these objects, we need to put another method inside our test class using the test cleanup attribute. And inside the test cleanup attribute, I can say that, okay, driver, close the window, or driver, you can quit the Google Chrome, or I can say that driver, you can dispose the objects too. Okay, it's now, it seems to be great at this point. But again, we have another problem inside our test code up until here. As you see that I'm going to test my applications in the HTTPS localhost address. Suppose that I'm going to host these web applications in my web server, which is located in another URLs, and I need to run my web UI test against my new URL. So I need a mechanism to dynamically change this URL, or I need a mechanism to change this URL based on the stage that's going to be deployed. So hard coding the URL here is not a good idea. In order to pass a parameter to our test, we can use the run settings files in our unit test projects. Run settings files are useful for our integration test or for our web UI test. In order to add the run settings files to your project, you can simply click on your unit test project, click on add and a new item. Run settings file is nothing except an XML file. You can add an XML file to your projects. What has been up? Okay. Okay, let's search for XML template in Visual Studio. There's a problem inside my Visual Studio, and I'm going to, okay, finally I find the XML file here. Run settings files are files which has the run settings as their postfix. I'm going to name it as app.run settings and add the files to projects. As I told you, it's totally XML file. Run settings files has a source with the tag using the run settings. Inside the run settings, I'm going to add a test parameter, test run parameters. Okay, inside test run parameters, I'm going to add some parameters to my test. Parameters are name value pairs. I have a name here, for example, app URL, which has a value equal to HTTPS, for example, localhost, blah, 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 blah. What else? Okay. I can copy this URL from here and paste it inside the run settings file. Okay, let's, we have run settings. Okay, there's a misspelling here. There's run settings, test run parameters. Inside test run parameters, I have a new parameter called app URL, and its value is equal to HTTPS localhost 7292. Next steps, I need to state that the app.run settings files needs to be copied always to the output folder, and also I need to uh, declare it in my CS project file. I'm going to add a separate property group in order to address my run settings file. This section will be useful in our continuous integration and continuous deployment pipelines, where we need to find the run settings files and we need to replace its values. I'm going to create a separate property group here and add a child section here, call it run settings file pass, and put a value in it and say where is the run settings file is located. The run settings file is located in ms build project directory / app.run settings. Okay, I've configured my run settings and also add it to my CS proj. I can remove this URL from here. Okay, the next question is, okay, I have removed the URL from my code. What should I put here? In order to getting access to the run settings, we need to get access to the test context objects. In order to get access to test context objects, we need to create a method which has the class initialize attribute. A method which has the class initialize attribute is a public static void method. And let's call it, for example, a class init method. I can say that the test context is its parameter. Get that test context. Declare another static test context field here. And say that this test context, static test context is equal to the context. Okay, now we have our context. We have access to the test context. And here easily I can say that, okay, you can go to the test context properties. It has a property called app URL.toString. You have access to the app URL inside the run settings file. Okay, now my code seems to be a little bit better than what we had previously. Another option we might need to change is to change the test driver inside our pipelines. For example, I need to run my pipeline once and test my application using Chrome driver, and then I again needs to run the pipeline and start testing my application using Firefox driver instead of Google Chrome driver. So I need the mechanisms to creating an object from the driver, which is based on the input parameter. Okay, I can define another parameter in my run settings file here. Let's call that parameter as a browser and give it a value, for example, equal to Chrome or what else or whatever I need to test my application. Here in its sections, I can easily say my test initialize methods that we have a driver. Driver is equal to the okay, we need another step. We need to get a step back and read the parameter value. Let's create a static string variable here, call it browser. Inside the class initialize, we can say that browser is equal to test context dot properties browser. I'm going to read the browser parameter value and save it in the browser field. Also, let's create another field for the app URL and store it. Okay, app URL, and I can read the app URL parameter from run settings file insert any app URL static string variable. Was error, the name app URL does not exist in the current context, probably static string. Okay, it's app URL. Okay, app URL. Okay, here I can say that, hey, driver, your value is equal to the browser switch, where the browser is equal to Chrome. You can return new Chrome driver, or when it's equal to Edge, you can return new Edge driver. Okay, as you can see that the Edge driver is not the compiler does not know anything about the Edge driver because we have not installed the Edge driver into our applications. We can use the Selenium Edge to get access to the Edge driver. Or I can say that, okay, if none of the values have been matched, you can return the new Chrome driver. Okay, what's here? Can convert type Edge driver to Chrome driver. Okay, here in the driver sections, if we click on F12 and step into the code, we can see that all of these classes are implementing iWeb driver interface. So I can define our field using iWeb drivers, so we can create different kind of drivers based on the configured parameter value. Okay, then I can remove this line. Okay, it seems to be better now. So let's see if the test is again it's working or not. Let's put breakpoint here to see what's inside the test context, and after that let's get back here. Oh, we need to replace it with the app URL. Okay. Okay. Here we need to again tell the drivers to navigate to our application URL and then click on the privacy option. Let's right click on test and start debugging the web UI test. Okay, the context is going to be stored in the test context object. As you can see, inside the context, there's the property called properties. And inside the properties, as you can see, we have access to our run settings properties here. Okay, and continue. We have driver, as you can see, it's as of type Google, as of type Chrome driver. It will navigate to the application URL, but the problem is that the application is not up in the localhost 7292 URL. In order to have applications, in order to start the applications, we can go to the application folder and using the command prompt in order to get the application up and run. Okay, here I can open a command prompt and say that, okay, .NET run. Oh, come on, man. .NET run a sample web runs X-ray. Okay, so okay. Now the application is up using the HTTP localhost 5000. I can open it in a browser and then get back to the test project, change the application URL to this value, and starts debugging the applications. Before starting debugging, I can see that when the application is in the home folder, the web page title is equal to home page. So I can say that, okay, the title, for example, starts with home value. Okay, save it. Instead of debugging the test, let's running the test from scratch and see if the tests are being passed or not. Okay, as you saw, the Chrome driver has been burned out and it starts running the a web UI test, and as you can see, my tests have been passed. Okay. Up to here, we've created the application. Also, we've wrote the web UI test using the Selenium. The next step is to creating our pipelines and starts building the application and starts deploying the application to the target machine, and then starts running our web UI test using Azure DevOps. In order to do that, I need to add my source to the source control. Simply, I can click on Add to Source Control option here and then click Git. I'm going to push my codes to the Azure DevOps located in my own account inside the organization called, it's going to fetch in the organization list. Inside the manual organization, there's a project called C# Summit 2023 and create a repository called sample web app. Okay, create the repository and push the codes to that repository. Okay, we're just waiting to creating the repository and pushing our codes to the Azure DevOps repository. Okay, our code has been pushed to the Azure DevOps repository. Let's go to the Azure DevOps. Here in the repository section, we have a new repository here called sample web app. This is our web application. We can go to the pipeline menu and start creating the pipeline. First, we need a build pipeline to build our application, and then we need to have a release pipeline in order to release our application and start testing the applications. Of course, in your operational environment, you might have your web applications up and run in your web server, so you do not need to rebuild it or redeploy it to the target machine. You just need to build your web UI test, and you need to testing your desired application using this new web UI project. But as we do not have our application up and running in the target machines, first we need to build our web application plus the web UI test projects, and then we need to deploy our web application and then start testing that web applications. For the ease of use, I'm going to use the classic editor to creating the pipelines. I'm going to say that my codes resides in the sample application repository, and I'm going to get the codes using the master branch. Let's use the ASP.NET Core templates to create the pipeline. I'm going to run the pipeline on my self-hosted agents. Totally, I don't like the linking option of Azure DevOps, so I'm going to click on unlink all options so that I can change every value that I want. First, we need to restore the project dependencies. Then we need to build our projects. Then we need to test. Of course, this test step here is not required in our scenario. This kind of test, this task is suitable for running the unit test during your build pipeline. But we are going to use the web UI test. Web UI tests are tests which are going to run over a deployed application. So this task is an extra task, and I'm going to remove it. After building the application, I'm going to publish the web projects, of course, publishing my web application, and I do not want it to zip my applications. I need another publish application. Let's call this, for example, publish app task. And I have another task here. Let's call it publish UI test. And here I'm going to publish my web UI test projects. So I need to change the path to projects section. I need to find its name. Its name is okay. Let's copy this name and put it here. I'm going to publish the sample web UI test using this test. After this steps, we need to publish our artifacts, as we are going to deploy our web application separately from testing our web applications. We need to have two separate publish artifact tasks again. The first one is publish app artifacts, and the second task is publish UI test artifacts. In the publish app artifacts, I'm going to publish the uh, this sample web app folder, and let's call it, for example, hmm, let's call the artifact app. I'm going to publish the artifact in Azure pipelines, and the second publish artifact task is going to uh, publish the sample web UI test folders content, and let's call it, for example, UI test. Okay, it seems that we have done with our build pipeline. Let's save it and start running the pipeline and check if there's error in our pipeline or not. It's just waiting for the agents. Okay, agents picked up the work. It's going to check out our codes and stores in my self-hosted agents machine. It's going to restore the dependencies. We're just waiting for the dependencies to being restored. Okay, it's now building the projects using .NET build command. Okay, now it's going to publish the web application, then publish the Selenium test projects. Finally, it's going to publish the app artifacts in Azure pipelines, and then it will start publishing the UI test artifacts in Azure pipelines. Publishing the artifacts, of course, we need to publish our artifacts so that we can use them in our release pipelines. That's why we put the publish app artifacts and publish UI test artifacts in our build pipelines. I'm just waiting for the artifacts to being uploaded. Based on your application size, these two steps might take uh, from some seconds to several minutes. You can view the live stats in the right-hand side. That's what is going on inside the stats. Okay, there's a connectivity problem in my connection. That's why it's this amount of slowness in my pipeline running. Okay, the pipeline has been completed. We're just waiting for the post job or for the cleanup jobs. The Azure DevOps is going to say, okay, the pipeline has been executed successfully. Let's get back to the pipeline statistics page. Here you can see that the pipeline has been published two different artifacts. We can click on artifacts. The first artifact is named app. It has a 9 megabyte size. And if I expand it, this is my web applications, which I'm going to deploy it in my web server. The second artifact is the UI test, which is my Selenium Web UI test project's output. That's why I'm going to use these second artifacts to test my applications. So that now I have my artifacts, I need to go to the release section and create a new release pipeline in order to deploy my artifact. I'm going to use the IIS template, IIS website deployment template here. And I'm going to select the artifact. I'm going to say that's okay from Project C# Summit 2023. There's a pipeline called something and says that yes, that pipelines have been executed and produced an artifact, produced two different artifacts called app and UI test. Yeah. And it all says it's okay. Then go to the stage. In the stage section, I'm going to, for example, deploy it in my local computer. The first step is to create a new website or web application. As I told you, I hate the link option of the Azure DevOps, so I need to unlink all the properties. Okay, that's now great. And first task, I'm going to working with an IIS website. I'm going to create or update a website inside IIS and call it my, for example, my app. in fact, I'm going to tell the IIS that, hey, IIS, please create a website called My App, or if the website named My App is already exists, let's update that website, and also put the physical, also the this website falls inside this folder path. For example, let's call it My App here. Okay. I'm going to configure the binding and also creating an application pool specific for my web applications. For bindings, I'm going to click on three dots here and edit the binding. Let's say that, okay, bring up the applications on port number 809 using the HTTP protocol, and also create a new application pool called my app underline pool. Which has no managed code, and we do not need to load the CLR inside it, and other options are not required to be changed. Let's copy the my app here. Okay, and in the web app deploy task, I'm going to say that, okay, please deploy my app websites using these artifacts. The artifacts are located in the app folder. Okay, I'm going to copy the content of app folder inside the my app website's physical path. Okay, up until here, the IIS deployment of my application has been finished. In order to bring a little bit or a little better performance to my deployment procedure, in the IIS deployment section, I can say, hey, you do not need to download the whole artifacts. What you need to download is only the app artifacts. I do not want you to download the UI test artifacts, so I can speed up the IIS deployment process to download the app artifacts very fastly, and then start deploying the application in the IIS web server. After deploying my application on the IIS, I need to start testing my applications. In order to test the application, I need an agent job here. So let's click on add an agent job, and inside the agent job, I need to add the Visual Studio Test task to my pipeline. Inside the Visual Studio Test pipelines, it's going to ask me, okay, where does your test projects have been located? My tests are located in sample web. Oh no, they're located in sample web UI test.dll. Okay, let's clean up here. These are not required. I'm going to say that, okay, my tests are totally located in sample web UI test.dll. You can search for this DLL in the default working directory, or I can add the inner passes here to doing the search operation with the great performance. After these steps, let's see what are the others. Okay, another important settings here is the settings file. I need to introduce my run settings file to this task, so that it can replace the run settings value and start testing my application. I told this task that the run settings task is located in this location, and also I can in these steps I must say to the I must tell to the task to replace my run settings parameters value with my desired values. Let's take a look at the apps.run settings. We have a key here called app URL. Okay, I need to say that we have a key called app URL, and we need to change this key value to the local host using port number 809. This URL was URL which we have been configured using the IIS Web App Manage. And then we have another key called browser. Let's put the Chrome inside it. While running this task, it will replace the HTTP localhost 809 with the HTTP localhost 5000, and also it will replace the Chrome with Chrome in this run settings file. And after these steps, okay, we have nothing extra to do. Okay, let's save the pipeline, start running the release pipelines to see if it works or if there's any problem inside our pipelines. Okay, the first job of the total two jobs are being executed, or it's in the progress step. We can see the summary of our pipelines or comments or work items related to our pipeline. We're just waiting for the release pipeline to start releasing and release of our application. Okay. It's waiting for the hosted agents to pick up the work. Let's stop this page. So, okay, it's going to, it has deployed the application on a IIS web server, and just starts running the web UI test over applications. In order to start the test application, of course, first it needs to download the artifacts. As you can see, it has just downloaded the UI test. We've just forgot to filter out the UI test download artifact. As you can see in the agent job step, it's just download the app artifact plus UI test artifact. As we know, the downloading the app artifact is unnecessary here, so we can omit these steps from our pipeline. We will get back to it and remove it. Okay, come on, man. Let's see. There's a bunch of errors inside our pipeline. Let's see what are the errors. Okay, there's a .NET problem in the application. It's using the .NET version 8. The following frameworks is just find these frameworks. Okay, I think the suitable agents has not been selected. Let's get back to the release pipeline. There are some settings we've been missed in our agent job section. First, in agent job section, I'm going to uncheck the app. So to prevent the app from downloading, it does needs to download the UI test. The problem is here in the agent pool. Of course, the hosted Windows 2090 does not contain the .NET 8 framework. I'm going to run this task using my using my self-hosted agents. The problem was related to the mismatch agents which was selected. The agent, of course, the selected agent did not have the .NET 8 SDK or .NET 8 runtime installed in it. So we're again start deploying our applications. While the application is being uploaded, let's open the IIS web server here. As you can see, there's a site here called My App, which is bounded to the port number 809. And if I click on the link, it will bring my app up. Okay, again, the IIS deployment once again has been succeeded. Okay, we're just waiting for the agent job. As you see, it did not start downloading the app artifact. It's just going to download the UI test artifact, and of course, in the IIS deployment section, it's just downloading the app artifact. After downloading the UI test, it's once again starts testing the assemblies. Before start testing the assembly, it will replace the run settings values with the values we've just provided to it. We're just waiting to it to test the application. Okay, there's another error. Register our pipeline. I think the error will be related to the Open Chrome driver, but let's read the error. It says that the problem. Okay. As you might know or you might not know, here in Iran we do not have access to the internet as all you might have in different parts of the world. We have very limited access to internet. So I've just downloaded the Chrome driver file. I need to copy this Chrome driver file to my project. Okay, and I need to select the copy always options to my driver, and then push that driver to the Azure DevOps. For example, add Chrome driver. start committing and pushing the chains. The error here, as you can see, indicates that the access into this URL is forbidden. And you can see that if I copy this URL here, oh my God, what's happening? Okay. Oh, it's just downloading using the browser, but the agents was unable to download the driver and get the forbidden status code. So I manually put the Chrome driver inside the sample web UI test here. The test assembly task will automatically pick up the Chrome driver and start testing my application using this Chrome driver placed inside my project without needing to downloading the Chrome driver from internet. Once again, we need to run our build pipelines to have new artifacts. And after running the build pipeline, we will need to run the release pipelines to test the application. Okay, we're just waiting for the pipelines to be executed. Okay, the application artifact has been published, and it's just publishing the UI test artifacts. We're just waiting to see pipelines to be completed. Okay, let's just publish two artifacts again. So we can get the release pipeline. Let's close the extra tabs on the browser. Okay, let's get the release pipeline and create a new release. Okay, and waiting for the release to start deploying the application to iOS and then testing our web application. As I told you, you might not need to put your uh, iOS deployment besides your web UI testing pipelines. You might have your own UI. You might have your own iOS deployment testing your pipelines. You might need to design a new and completely separated pipelines for UI testing. So you might need to design your pipeline just like the pipelines I've designed. It's up to you and up to your environments and up to your problem area. Okay, we're just waiting for the agent jobs to again download the UI test artifact. Once again, checking if the test will succeed or not. Okay, this time the tests haven't succeeded. We're just waiting to tasks to be cleaned up and finalizing the job. The VS test task has been passed this time. If we get back to the VS test task, at the end of the log, we can found the total of two tests, and both of the two tests have been passed. And after completing the release, there is a tab here called test. If you get to the test, you can see that you have totally two tests, both have been passed, and you have 100% pass rate for your web UI tests. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed my presentation. Of course, in order to contact me, you can use the v.farmania@jinget.ir email address, or you can follow me on GitHub using White profile, or follow me on LinkedIn using vfarmandian, or Instagram using White in Twitter user underscore Jinget. You can follow my blog post using jinget.medium.com. You can follow my YouTube channel in the jinget.net. I hope you enjoyed my presentations, and I hope you can implement this infrastructure in your organization or in your company. Have a good day and night. See you very soon. Bye.